If you're a frequent P&W Haunts and Homicides listener, you probably already know we're Birdie ambassadors.
We wanted to take a quick moment to tell you a little bit more about this awesome product.
Birdie is the modern personal safety alarm made for women by women.
In a situation where you feel threatened or unsafe, you can simply activate Birdie's loud siren and flashing light to create a diversion.
Birdie is perfect to carry anytime because the device is lightweight and comes in a variety of colors.
So important. Use our ambassador link and coupon code P&W Haunts and Homicides to receive 10% off your purchase. Like our social media handles, the coupon code is all spelled out, no special characters.
You can find the link and promo code in our show notes or P&W Haunts and Homicides link tree.
Have a safe ass day. As indie podcasters, we love to show our support of other awesome shows. So stay tuned for the promo we've got to share with you this week.
Let's show them some love. You can find their info in our show notes.
Are you a baby witch looking for some guidance?
Or maybe just someone who likes witty, queer humor?
Then join us for Am I Right Witches?
Every week we talk about a new witchcraft-related subject.
Hang out with us while we talk about crystals, deities, how the Anglo-Saxons wronged the Italians, and so much more.
Most importantly, join a community of like-minded people who are all learning together, including us.
Am I Right Witches? An occasionally educational, always funny podcast.
Staying on topic is boring anyways.
Am I right, witches?
You guys, we're back!
And don't worry, we did get more wine.
Well, of course. Hi, Cassie.
Hi, Caitlin.
Hi, creepy people.
Hi.
Hello.
It's spooky season.
It is like solidly
So
spooky
excited.
season.
Aren't you guys excited? We can hear you. We know.
Cricket. Oh my goodness.
Well,
It's very exciting.
it is. What is this, Caitlin?
This is P&W Haunts and Homicides.
Hell yeah, it is.
I almost said, duh, it's spooky season.
Duh, we
Like-
talked about it just now.
Is that not the answer that you were looking for? Oopsie.
Well, you got it real fast, so.
Yeah, I got there.
Not just a hat rack.
Yeah.
I stole your line.
Points to head. Yeah, it's spooky season. And if you want to know how you can tell, it's based on the amount of time and how elaborate I got with the tarot setup.
Yep, it looks pretty good.
It's like a full-blown altar. pretty
Witchy,
much.
spooky altar. Well, we're doing magic over here, so.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
Yep.
Can't do that without some fancy, sparkly stuff. And
sticks
candles.
and leaves and
Yeah.
rocks.
I've got a fancy spoon.
It's a whole thing.
It really is. All right. Well, you ready to talk about something far less magical?
I mean, I am only because you set it up so well that I want to hear the rest,
Okay, great.
but also no, because I know that there was technically no murder in the first one. So, like, where's the murder?
Yeah, that's true.
So
That's true. Yeah, you might, sniff around your apartment asking your dog, where's the poop? In this case, we're asking ourselves, where's the murder?
Ugh. I don't want to sniff that out, though.
No,
Yikes.
no. I'll just spoon feed it to you. How about
Oh,
that?
no. I don't want to eat the murder.
You know, it's funny how this all played out, actually, now that you mentioned that.
Is there eating involved?
Listen,
That's your no-no topic.
there's no trigger warning, but when we get to it, I think you'll know exactly what I meant.
Oh, God. Okay. Well.
Okay. Like I said, you guys, don't be scared. There's no trigger warning. Okay.
I'm terrified.
It's going to be fine.
Everyone hold my hand. Okay. I'm ready.
All right. Now, you may recall from last time that the Puget Sound Pilots Association, henceforth the PSPA, was established in 1935. I think they come up a couple more times, and I was really getting sick of spelling that one out. So, also notable in their history, after receiving some concerning correspondence regarding Rolf Nesland of Lopez Island, they were the first to sound the alarm on his disappearance to authorities.
Okay.
It was already roughly 6 months after his disappearance at the time. So not great timing.
Yeah.
Usually I think we like to see that that report come in within the first couple of days.
Yeah.
Ideally.
6 months is like, oh,
Yeah.
doesn't look
Yikes.
good.
No, not ideal.
Yeah.
You may also recall that in the latter years of their seemingly happy marriage, they became well known for their drunken fights at the dinner parties that Ruth and Rolf hosted.
Okay.
All right.
The drunken fights.
Yeah, drunken fights, my friends. So much so that it became a bit of a joke around the island amongst some of their neighbors and friends.
Oh, man. Small town life.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, and I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think pretty much every friends group has had at one point or another that couple friend that those couple friends that they just really, they ruin a good night.
Yeah.
And we'll leave it at that. Some even began begging off when future invitations were received.
Same.
Yeah. Yeah. I would like to unsubscribe.
Yeah.
Yeah. RSVPing always, never.
Always, never.
The efforts on the part of the PSPA led to a wellness check being executed on the Nesland home by law enforcement for Rolf. As it happens, this was one of the officer's very first call from dispatch as an officer on Lopez Island.
First call. Wow.
Yeah. Ray Cleaver had relocated from California sometime earlier, and actually when he first moved, he worked as a contractor until the emergence of a recession.
Okay.
It's not always a great time to be in the business of building stuff.
Yeah. Nope.
He hadn't expected much excitement in the role in the small, isolated island jurisdiction that he would be serving.
Right? You're like, yeah, we got it pretty easy over here.
Yeah. But as it happens, he was easily proven quite woefully wrong.
Oh, no. Oh.
I mean, unreal. He'd actually been a police officer at one point in California, from the sounds of it.
Oh.
And so when he moved, he didn't go right back to it. But law enforcement was definitely something that he felt really passionate about. So,
Okay.
And I say that because I don't want you guys to think that I'm leading you down the trail of like bad detective work.
Okay.
Whew. We've got that going
Good.
for us.
I'm sick of hearing about that.
I know.
All right.
It's real not great. And also it's bad.
Terrible.
Mm-hmm. When officers spoke with Ruth Nesland at the time, she tried to convince them that Rolf had run off with Eleanor to Norway.
Oh. Good old Eleanor.
I know. Remember the baby mama in BC? Sounds like You do.
Yep, definitely
Okay.
do. I've been waiting to see where this goes.
You're like, is she coming back? What's happening with her?
She was a character.
Oh, yeah. Well, Ruth went so far as to say that she had followed Rolf's obvious breadcrumb trail all the way to Norway, searching for him for 2 days.
So she says she went to Norway looking for him?
Mhm.
Okay.
She was a little surprised when officers seemed inclined to verify this story by indicating that they would likely be checking flight manifests.
No shit.
Yeah. Also, does anyone else think that at 80 years of age, just feels like it would have been an odd time to suddenly have a midlife crisis?
Yeah. I mean, he started late, so, maybe.
I just, is it just me thinking that story about Rolf taking off with an old flame is somewhat unlikely, if not implausible?
Caitlin, love is a mysterious thing.
Yeah.
It
There's
makes you
a lot
crazy.
Yeah.
So.
Oh my goodness. It's going to get crazy because there's a lot of things that are not mysterious.
You're being so mysterious about
I
it,
know.
though.
Being so mysterious about the things that are not mysterious. In direct conflict with the story of the couple being quite contented in their married life that was presented by some, Ruth's nieces told authorities about calls they received from their drunken aunt on more than one occasion where she happened to have made a variety of threatening statements about Rolf.
What?
Yeah, she had some creative ideas about how she might kill him.
Oh my gosh. So she's been sitting on this for a while.
Yeah, some drunken rants. I wonder if she even remembers having told so many people some of these things.
God. Wow.
Eek. Investigators were cautiously observing Ruth from the very beginning. Eventually, when a warrant came through that provided for a more comprehensive search than the initial conducted, a number of items of interest were found. Yeah.
Interesting items.
Yeah.
I'd like to know.
As the detectives searched on an initial surface level, it became clear that while the overall appearance of the home had not been changed, notably, Ruth said she wanted to preserve it for Rolf's return. So this kind of, directly conflicts with her whole story about him running away to Norway with his great love.
Yeah. How is she going to lure him back from Norway? She can't even find him.
Well, exactly. Because obviously, she went.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just for 2 days, though.
Well, yeah, after 2 days, if you haven't found him, you're never going to find him.
How long is the trip to Norway? Is it longer than 2 days?
I don't think it's longer than 2 days, but it's not a short flight, I'm sure. However, an experienced eye would pick out the subtle differences, such as new sections of carpet in multiple areas.
Weird.
I know. As the search progressed and investigators became more confident, the choice was made to proceed with pulling up those specific sections of carpet.
I could see that.
Yeah.
What are those?
What they found was, though the carpet sections may have been brand new and nearly perfectly matched to existing finish, Ruth had been far too frugal to replace the padding beneath it.
What an idiot.
I know. It's unreal.
I mean,
It's
I'm glad
unreal.
she didn't, but
I know, which my next line, which was unfortunate. I mean, only for Ruth, though.
Yeah.
Seeing as it was stained a deep crimson hue.
What could that be?
Well, it was an almost unmistakable sight for seasoned criminal forensics and law enforcement professionals.
Was it aged ketchup?
It's never ketchup.
Specially aged.
Seriously. Ruth's bedroom proved to be another area of interest. It was practically an armory.
An armory?
Mm-hmm. With more than one firearm, dozens of boxes of ammunition, and multiple knives.
Dang, in her bedroom?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about you, but I am not sleeping in a room that's, fortified like that.
No. I mean, you got to have at least one thing to be protected, but like the whole room?
Come on. Like she's got one in every corner. Probably two in every corner.
You get a gun and you get a gun.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. And you know what? When we run out of guns, you get a knife. You get a knife. Unreal.
She's prepping for the zombie apocalypse.
I mean, it's really the only logical explanation. Or seems a bit over the top, but it's not exactly evidence of any violent crime. Technically.
Yeah.
So.
But what about all that blood?
Well, the blood spatter that was found on the ceiling above Rolf's recliner, like the stained carpet padding, would prove to be a different matter entirely.
Bitch didn't clean the ceiling? Holy shit. It got up there too? That's horrifying.
Yeah. I mean, people don't realize how it goes everywhere. Like, to cover your tracks, you may as well just burn the house down.
I guess they didn't really have like CSI and stuff back then, right?
Well, I mean, there was definitely a forensics team.
Like the show for you to watch and then know what they look for.
Yes, correct. Correct. That is correct. Investigators not only found the evidence of large quantities of blood, which at the time could only be typed. So we're not getting a full DNA sequencing or profile.
Okay.
But they actually confirmed purchase information, including dates for the carpet.
Of course they did.
Yeah. Well, Ruth kept very meticulous financial records. So you know that if they couldn't get it from the carpet store or wherever she bought this, she probably had the receipt.
Wow.
Yeah. It was all beginning to stack up in a way that didn't bode that well for Ruth.
Poor Ruth.
Oh, yeah. Before you start to feel too bad for her. Eventually, a jackhammer would even be used to access some of the concrete slab in the home, which was a first for at least one of the detectives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on a small island, on a small island, you don't jackhammer a bunch of concrete slabs that often?
No, not that often. And you have to remember, too, that some of these guys, the one officer that we talked about, he specifically, this was the wellness check for Rolf, was the very first call he got from dispatch with his partner. His first day.
Jeez.
And it's
lucky guy.
I know. And it's just weird because this concrete slab isn't really where you would typically think of a concrete slab being. And I didn't get into that because, I don't know how much people will be interested in that. And there's a lot going on here. It's pretty weird.
I'm going to have to go do my own research.
I guess so. I've got more than one book that covers this. And I've listened to both of them multiple times now. So
I'm not going to really, but
yeah. But if you wanted to, we'll be in the show notes.
Okay.
I'm not sure that I've heard of this happening either, though. I mean, just in general, let alone on this tiny island. It's so bizarre. When tested with luminol, it lit up like a Christmas tree, and samples taken proved to be type A human blood, and enough of it that the person suffered, at best case scenario, a dire injury or more likely death. A serious case of deadness.
Did they find it on the concrete or under,
Sure did.
Like on the top?
Couldn't get it out of the concrete. She bought a specific concrete, chemical cleanser. and even ground away at it. And there was so much blood, she just couldn't get rid of it.
Wow. Oh my God. I hope she like broke fingers and like got blisters and
right?
ugh.
Horrific. Later, the defense would attempt to explain this away, stating that the couple had in recent years begun physically fighting, drawing blood on some occasions. Or, they argued, it could have been caused by construction accidents when they worked on the home. And I didn't specifically add this to my notes, but I was talking to Chris about this case, and it's such a weird thing to, if it happened, bizarre, super irresponsible. If it didn't happen, it's such a weird thing to lie about.
Yeah.
Ruth said that when they were building the home, they would buy a case of beer every day for all of the people that were helping them with the work on the house. So she said there were a ton of accidents and injuries on their construction site / home because people were drunk.
That is the weirdest thing I've ever heard.
I know. I was like, okay, again, somebody needs to call OSHA.
Yeah. What is happening?
Yeah. Listen, I love a good glass of wine here and there in the evenings, but maybe not while I'm like working with a hammer or,
power tools. Yeah.
So much room for activities.
I was just thinking that. Like, what did he say? It's just my toothbrush.
Yes, exactly. That is not your toothbrush. That's exactly what we're dealing with here. That's the level of sophistication in pretty much any one of Ruth's explanations.
Oh my gosh. Now I'm just going to picture her like, what's his name? The curly-headed fuck. What's his name?
Brendan and Dale.
Dale.
Yeah.
I'm just going to picture her as Dale now.
Perfect. I mean, I'll show you a picture later.
Okay.
You might think that there are some parallels really? Appearance-wise. I don't know. We'll see. However, when it came to trial, some of the most compelling testimony was provided by Sergeant Rod Englert, then a detective for Multnomah County.
Ooh.
Yeah. But in the ensuing decades, he would become one of the foremost experts in the motherfucking world on blood spatter.
Really? Like Dexter?
Yeah. You guys, Dexter's from Portland. Like, didn't you kind of know it?
Totally.
I'm sure, like, but not the other stuff behind the scenes. He's not doing the moonlighting. He stated that what he observed would be categorized as major artery bleeding.
Oh, that doesn't sound good.
It's not good. You don't want that.
Mm-mm.
Ruth even tried to blame it on the nosebleeds she suffered due to her high blood pressure.
She's just out there bleeding on the concrete slab.
I guess.
This is where I go for my nose to bleed.
Yeah. Which, although honestly, to be fair, it sounds like they could have been a very significant source of blood, but it would be next to impossible for that to have accounted for the amount of blood that investigators found in the home.
Yeah.
It's so unlikely.
Ugh.
I mean, she'll say anything. Taking a page from Nancy Brophy's terrible book.
No.
I know. Some seemingly damning literature of sorts was found about the home and taken into evidence.
Did she write a blog too?
No. This is the 80s. I'm not sure that this actually played an important role in the trial itself. It doesn't ever get brought up in most of the source material that I found, except that it was taken into evidence.
Okay.
They were just like, we're just taking everything.
Take it all.
Yeah, exactly. Because as I've alluded to, there is absolutely going to be one, a trial. But the item was just a little too salacious not to share with you guys. So good. It was an old copy of Reader's Digest. The issue featured a section about To Catch a Killer. The hashtag Never Bundy story.
Oh.
They didn't come up with the hashtag before us.
Well, no.
I just refused to. You know what I'm getting at.
No, but here he is again. We're bringing him up.
Statistically significant, okay? One of the difficulties that the detectives faced, particularly with no body in this case, was that they needed to establish Rolf Neslin's blood type. How do you do that?
How do you do that?
Yeah, he's got sons, living abroad. And so one of the things that they looked at was potentially, using their blood types as a jumping off point. It's a little bit complicated. Sounds like the science wasn't great and they didn't really want to go that route. They wanted to know Rolf's blood type based on, whether it was medical records or something like that. Makes sense, I think. They hit some roadblocks when contacting healthcare providers initially due to HIPAA regulations. I feel like Rolf would have signed off on this privacy violation,
right.
But that's just not how it works, though. Like, if you don't have his consent for that, you can't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess you can't consent if you're dead.
Nope. But they would eventually receive information that the Northgate Hospital had a biological sample taken from a previous surgery. Now, there is some complicated backstory about the biological sample based on how old it was and some other factors, whether or not they would actually be able to get his blood type from it.
Is it semen?
It is not.
Okay.
No. Great guess. Normally you'd be right because it's
always semen.
Yeah, it's always semen.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere. That would reveal Rolf's blood type. It was a match for the blood found in the home. Now, granted at this point, just based on the technology available, it technically also could have been Ruth's, which puts a little bit of a hitch in your giddy up.
Yeah.
As it were.
Damn.
But again, based on the quantity, it was believed that in all likelihood, the individual that the blood belonged to was no longer with us, in the aliveness sense.
Yeah.
And as it happens, also the physical sense. And clearly, Ruth was still with us.
Yes.
So probably not hers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it would just have to be some ridiculous scenario where it turns out to be her blood because she just has that like a massive bloody nose like every day because of the high blood pressure.
Or maybe she takes her own blood for donations, but then doesn't donate it and she like tripped and fell.
Oh my gosh.
And spilled it all.
Yeah. And do you think as she's falling to the ground, she says, "Nobody makes me bleed real blood"?
I was totally thinking that earlier, but I was like, it doesn't fit with what she's saying.
Oh my God.
That's amazing. How do we read each other's mind literally all the time?
I don't know. It's probably all this spooky, witchy shit I've got over here.
Yeah.
It's channeling something.
That's so funny.
The case became something of a spectacle. A media circus, as we often hear. But never has this been more true, especially for such a small, tight-knit community. So here's where I'm going to touch on the meat grinder theory.
No. Do we have to touch the meat grinder?
You're going to feel better if I explain it.
Okay.
I promise.
All right.
It was a popular one, at least in the papers. This theory was like on fire. It was lit, fam. As such, some of the coverage referred to the case as the meat grinder murder.
Oh.
Yeah. So here's how the theory goes. Ruth and Rolf had owned a meat grinder. The Neslins raised their own beef. but it was sold shortly after his disappearance. Thankfully, it was confirmed never to have been used before being taken into evidence by investigators.
Okay.
Okay.
How is it never used if they raise their own beef?
Never used by the new owners.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. My bad.
Despite the macabre speculation, not one speck of human blood was found in, on, or around the contraption.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, that makes me feel better because she's a terrible cleaner. So
Yeah.
you know something would have been left.
She was apparently a fantastic cook. Okay, so here's where it gets a little bit dark again. But since we know that the meat grinder theory, there's literally nothing behind it. It's okay. It's going to be okay.
Okay.
Probably. You may be emotional. I don't know. We'll see. I'll just tell you.
Okay.
Okay. Ruth had at some point donated 50 pounds of hamburger to their community center, and Islanders would later recall with a bit of distaste that she had joked that after all those Rolf burgers, there was a little Rolf in all of us. So you kind of see where the meat grinder theory takes off a little bit, right? I mean,
Whoa. What?
Mhm.
Cassie can't talk. Her eyes are really wide and nothing's coming into her brain, but what?
Okay, perfect. Because I have the next sentence it's going to be on repeat for you. Okay. Just be prepared for speechlessness for a moment.
Okay.
Regardless of the fact that it was proven false and was quite a gruesome thing to do, restaurants on the island would soon be serving what they called Rolf burgers.
No.
Yeah, the restaurants made it real creepy, kitsch type of a thing. It's not
That
great.
is awful.
Too soon, you guys. Like,
That
his
is
body is still missing.
Never gonna be okay. That's disgusting.
Yeah, not, like I said, it's in pretty bad taste.
I mean, I'm weird and creepy, and I have
Yeah.
a dark sense of humor, but
yeah. But I mean,
there's a
Jesus
line.
Christ, you guys. I mean, the man's missing. Yikes.
Wow.
And it just perpetuates, this rumor about, oh, maybe the meat grinder was used for that, or maybe people did actually eat Rolf. And that's just like the psychological aspect of that. It's pretty messed up.
Why are humans obsessed with people eating people? Like,
I don't know. Stop doing it.
Stop.
Stop talking about it. Now, the Rolf burger debacle was hardly a nail in Ruth's coffin, unfortunately. Especially since many on the island actually believed her totally innocent. Somehow.
Interesting. Okay.
Rapid blinking.
Women can't kill.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, it is unusual in the sense that most women don't kill in such a bloody way.
Yeah.
As I think most of us are aware of by now. Most women choose poison.
Yeah. Watch your back.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Select your next meal carefully. Truth be told, though, even stranger, there were some that would never waver from that position.
From thinking
They were
she's
like,
innocent?
Yep, she's totes innocent. Totes my goats, Jobin.
Jeez.
I just, okay. All right.
Okay.
Okay. However, Ruth had totally financially screwed over her brother Paul. And when he
Aw.
left the island dejected, he settled in Scappoose.
Oh, okay.
Okay. This was in stark contrast to her treatment of her other brother, Robert, who seemed unfailingly loyal and was clearly her heavily favored sibling.
I thought you said Paul was her favorite.
At some point he might have been. Not anymore. Not at this point.
You
Nope.
switched it up.
Yeah. I'm telling you. I mean, her thoughts and feelings may change with the wind. Okay. Which that'll happen when you just like make shit up as you go.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mhm.
some wild ass stories. Detectives were eager to speak with Paul, who proved quite willing, to no surprise.
Hell yeah, Paul.
I know, get it, Paul. He wasn't the only witness to be brought forth to testify in court. The second, certainly less readily, though. The very hesitant, to put it mildly, witness Winnie K. Stafford had been Ruth's close friend since the Neslins moved on to Lopez Island in 1974.
Okay, that's a while.
Yeah, they've been friends for a minute. When subpoenaed, she said in a second round of testimony that she had been called to the home the night of Rolf's murder. And she had been there when Robert was allegedly dismembering his body in the bathroom, which was significant because there was a lot of back and forth about, well, how do you dismember someone in a bathtub without leaving marks from, like, you know, a knife or a machete or
Yeah.
whatever, you know, in the ceramic?
Mm.
Because that's the only issue with some
Yeah,
of these
right.
stories. Jesus. I mean, you might as well just say, like, yeah, no, bathtubs are made of teeth, enamel.
So
That's a wine and crime
Enamel.
joke. I'm a dork.
I like it.
It's a wine and crime joke, and it's also a teeth joke. So
I
it
love
really brings together my passions.
So she was there, but she didn't call the police?
Well, he's already dead. And she was afraid of Ruth,
But
allegedly.
the police will get the Ruth if
Yeah.
you call and say there's a dead body in her tub.
Yeah. I mean, allegedly, she was there.
Wow.
Allegedly, they dismembered him. Allegedly, she was, yeah. I
Okay.
don't,
Huh.
it's all nonsense. All these people are just ridiculous humans. Now, when it came to the trial, it lasted longer than expected, which actually seems like should almost always be expected.
Yeah.
They always go longer than they think, but I digress. Winter storms with disruptive snow patterns are rare up on the islands. But Thanksgiving week of 1985, when Rolf's siblings were to travel from Norway to testify, there was a blizzard warning.
Oh.
A blizzard warning.
Blizzard.
I probably didn't say it quite that dramatically, but it felt like it. The jury refused to let the weather throw up any roadblocks after the family members traveled so far. So they really went above and beyond.
Wow.
They were doing their civic duty.
That's awesome.
I know. A foot of snow fell, though.
Wow.
Yeah. Making the trek from SeaTac to Friday Harbor a bit more of a logistical challenge.
Oh.
But the trial continued.
How far is it?
I mean, it's basically a half-day journey, really. I mean,
Wow.
in snow, it's going to be a lot more, but once you land at SeaTac, it's just under a 2-hour drive from, you know, Seattle area to Anacortes. I feel like it was a lot longer when I was a kid.
Well, you were
I
a
was trying
kid.
to remember, but it's not like a crazy long drive, but it also, you know, just like anything in Seattle, it's so dependent on traffic.
Yeah.
Because I've definitely had that trip take over 2 hours,
Mm.
and you should be able to do it in like, you know, hour, 40 minutes. And then it's not that long of a ferry ride to Orcas Island. That's where my grandparents lived for a while. I haven't really spent very much time on Lopez Island. But I would imagine because you have to wait for everybody to drive their stupid little cars onto the ferry.
Stupid little cars.
Yeah. And then, you know, you get to the first stop. It's just like when you're riding the bus, right? So you're like spending a lot more time waiting on other people to load, unload, all that crap.
Yeah.
So it's like a half-day journey,
Dang.
conservatively.
Wow.
Yikes. The jury still made their way to participate in the court proceedings from neighboring Orcas Island.
Oh.
Because obviously most of those people are just like super incredible.
Yeah,
on the
totally.
island. You know what I mean? Like
Not biased or anything.
No, I don't think so. That wouldn't be the only hiccup, of course. Because
No.
I very rarely pick the cases that have like these really smooth trial processes
Yeah,
and
no,
everything.
you don't.
I mean, it's luck of the draw. By the time I know how the trial went, I'm already invested. So what are you going to do? Following that freakish winter storm, the roof of the courthouse began leaking.
Oh, no.
It gets worse.
Oh, no.
As it happens, right onto some of the evidentiary items.
No. That's not good.
It's not great.
Oh.
The damage wasn't too significant, so they were able to proceed, but it was just another headache, you know?
Yeah. They weren't like in those little plastic baggies?
I mean, I'm sure some of it was, but these were kind of some of the larger scale items that don't really get like that traditional like bag and tag that like
Okay.
something smaller would.
Okay. Like big pieces of cement? Is that what they had?
This was actually, it sounds like it was a piece of kind of furniture, I guess. It was a
Oh,
trunk that had
okay.
been in one of their bedrooms.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So, but it's fine because I don't think they wanted it back after that. When final arguments were completed on Wednesday, December 11th, the judge commended all four of the legal professionals on both sides of the aisle for their composure and professionalism,
Oh,
which is, I've literally never heard of that happening.
wow.
So
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool.
Awesome.
I know.
Good job, guys.
Yeah. Something remarkable in a good way.
Yeah.
So you're welcome. If you didn't catch anything significant about the date, question mark?
The 11th,
Uh-huh.
12/11.
Uh-huh. No, she didn't catch it. Okay.
Oh,
Don't worry. I'm
didn't
about to
catch it.
spell it
Okay.
out.
I'm like,
What?
was that his birthday?
Pop quiz. No.
Okay.
I flagged it right away.
Okay.
Starting the next phase of the trial, deliberations, the next day, it was possible that the jury may have remained sequestered in deliberations as Friday the 13th
Oh,
rolled around.
wow.
Yikes!
Nice.
It would appear that any superstition or fear was unfounded. Well, depending on who you ask, I suppose.
Suck it, Ruth.
Yeah. The 15 jurors had all remained throughout the duration of the trial, so they would be whittled down to 12.
Okay.
Okay. Alternates had been critical to avoid additional expenses being incurred for the trial if any medical or family emergencies should arise along the way. Because this was expensive.
Yeah.
They literally had to bring in people from another neighboring island, and then they had to be prepared to pay to put all of these people up
Oh.
while they're deliberating.
Wow. Yeah.
And normally, in most jurisdictions, they would have been sequestered during the trial itself. But they were like turning out their pockets like, no more money.
Oh.
Yeah, it's not great. As it happens, Ruth was the only one who had medical emergencies throughout the trial.
Oh. Real ones?
Repeatedly, actually.
Wow.
Not surprising that some health issues might be exacerbated by stress when you're on trial for the murder of your husband.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess. I don't know. I couldn't say.
So they were real. She wasn't faking it.
It doesn't sound like they were fake. But I think in a lot of ways, it's like that almost kind of convinces you of her guilt a little bit.
Yeah.
So they held as much of that back from the jury as they could.
Oh.
They could see that she was not doing well, though. They could
Oh.
tell her health was not like grade A, not awesome.
Yeah.
So,
Hmm.
At any rate, 3 names were drawn by the court clerk, Mary Jean Cahill, and those jurors were dismissed. So if your name got drawn, you get to go home.
Bye.
Yep. So that's prior to the deliberations beginning on December 12th.
Okay.
For context, the prosecution was hopeful that they would be done with the trial before Thanksgiving.
Okay.
So
a little
they're
bit past.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Like I said, I mean, it always goes longer than you think it's going to. But yeah, you sit there doing the math like, oh, okay. Just a little overdue.
Maybe it'll be done by next Thanksgiving.
I mean, you'd think. The jury had 4 possible choices when it came to their decision in this case. They could find Ruth innocent, if they were all smoking dope.
Boo.
Guilty of first-degree premeditated murder. Guilty of second-degree murder, which means they did not believe that there was any premeditation. It was something they debated quite a bit. Came up over and over again, and they really tried to drill down what signifies premeditation. 5 minutes of planning, 5 months of planning.
Yeah.
Or lastly, my least favorite, guilty of first-degree manslaughter, which is like, I don't think he did this on accident.
Yeah.
Not really sure how we get manslaughter here, but I'm going to go with no.
No.
No. In the state of Washington, as is the case in a number of states that I'm aware of, first-degree murder carries a mandatory life sentence.
Nice.
Yeah. When the jury deliberations lasted past Thursday, many quickly lost the bets that they'd placed on the outcome of the trial.
Oh, no.
A lot of people thought it was going to be real quick. But when the jury continued deliberating past Saturday night, the defense team took a tentative sigh of relief. Just like there's a rule of thumb that says a defendant shouldn't testify in criminal proceedings, which you want to guess whether or not our friend Ruth testified in her own defense? She did.
Oh.
She bundied all up in that courtroom.
Of course she did. She had the book.
Oh, yeah. There's also the common adage that the longer the jury deliberates, the more likely they are leaning towards acquittal.
Oh.
Because basically they can't decide. So in the situation where, your guilt isn't proven beyond a reasonable doubt, generally the recommendation is that you should err on the side of, in favor of the defendant.
Yeah.
Because the burden is on the state to make their case, to prove this person's guilt.
Ugh.
By 5 p.m. on Sunday, December 15th, the jury had reached a decision, and word spread quickly because it's a fucking tiny-ass island.
Yeah. Everyone was probably in the courtroom.
They're just like waiting. No, actually what's really kind of crazy is like the judge wasn't even on the island. He had to like catch a plane to... I know, isn't that wild?
Oh.
Because once it took that long, they're like, well, all right, I'm not just going to sit around and wait. And most of the time, you're not waiting in the courtroom for this type of trial anyway. Ruth was found guilty of, wait for it, premeditated first-degree murder.
Yes.
Yeah. Finger guns.
Yes. Finally, something good happened.
I know. She was also found guilty of the charge of being armed with a deadly weapon, and that would add another 5 consecutive years to her sentence.
Good.
I thought that was kind of an odd little,
Yeah.
like not exactly a fun fact, but like, hey, did you know?
5 years.
Now you do. The verdict was indeed truly unexpected, and the unrest and excitement of reporters, the jurors themselves, the defendant, and other courtroom observers were quite palpable in the room.
Yeah, I bet.
It's difficult to convince a jury of a defendant's guilt beyond a reasonable doubt, let alone without a body.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I forgot about that part.
I know. I mean, I feel like even if nobody comes out and says it, when you don't have the victim's body, the burden of proof in other respects, like the bar is so much higher.
Yeah.
This case, however, would make history as the first no-body conviction in Washington state.
Oh, snap. The very first.
Yep.
Wow.
And I literally tried to go looking for cases because it was like, nah, there's got to be one before that. I didn't find any.
Wow.
I tried to like fact check it just because I'm like, oh no, like other people can be wrong even if they write books and articles and things. I just couldn't wrap my brain around it. Like I didn't actually think that I was being told inaccurate information, but I just was like, whoa.
It's important to fact check, you know?
Yeah.
You can't just trust everything you read.
Right. Well, and when you see it like in a couple of the sources, but maybe not necessarily mentioned in all of them, I feel like you can feel relatively confident about that information, but I just like, it wasn't sinking in. Couldn't wrap my brain around it. I don't know. My brain's
crazy.
not stretchy.
Not that stretchy.
Not that stretchy. At sentencing, she was indeed given a life term with a minimum of 20 years. Even with good behavior reductions, she would have to serve at least 13 years and 7 months before she could be released. This is the part that always gets me. I don't like it.
I don't get it.
How long is your life supposed to be?
Yeah.
13 years and 7 months? Because, I mean, Rolf lived to be like 80. So, like, I don't know, maybe if you serve 80 years, then after that, I would consider releasing you.
Yeah.
Okay? Thanks for stopping by.
I agree.
Yeah. Something interesting that the judge did here was instead of specifying a minimum of 30 years, okay, so he did 20 instead of 30 as the minimum for her life sentence.
Okay.
She's pretty old at this point.
Yeah.
I don't think it really matters, but it's
Still
annoying.
It's the principle of the thing.
I mean, it really is, though. Yeah. Regarding her conviction and sentencing, Ruth was quoted as saying it was a, quote, real drag. Rapid blinking.
Ruth.
Shallow breathing.
Can you imagine just like asking her that question? So, Ruth, how was the trial? And it was a real drag.
Yeah. Like, I really do want to know the context of that a little bit. Like, so wait, hold on. What exactly did you say right before the words "a real drag" came out of her mouth?
I'd like to know.
Yeah. I have something for you that you're not going to want to know.
All right.
Okay.
So why are you telling me?
The people want to know.
Because I tell you things you don't want to know.
It gets the people going. It's provocative. But she, Ruth, returned home on January 25th because of the support of local residents that mortgaged their homes to raise the $150,000 security bond for her release. So you haven't even begun to feel how much of a drag this is going to be, Ruth. Like,
I don't get it. Why?
Because they thought she was innocent. I'm telling you, there were people that were die hard. During this time, she returned to running her bed and breakfast.
What? No, she did not run a bed and breakfast.
She sure did. She literally started it up in the period of time after Rolf disappeared and her conviction and sentencing.
I still don't know. How can you, you were convicted.
Yeah, so I don't know, but I do have a question for you.
For me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cassie, do you want to go stay with me at a B&B?
Yes.
Yeah, so she's just out living her life, running her B&B while her sentence was on appeal.
Wow.
Normal stuff. It's fine.
That's
Like I said, many well-respected citizens believed thoroughly in her innocence. I wonder what's going to happen. Prob sauce, nothing good.
Is she gonna
Not good.
Is she gonna kill all of them?
Oh my God. That would be pretty nar.
Yeah.
So Ruth did another thing.
Can Ruth just calm down?
Yeah. Ruth really needs to take several seats. Ruth sideswiped 2 bikers on Mud Bay Road on the island while out on bond.
What?
Which, okay, maybe she's out on bond. But why is she driving?
Yeah.
Because notably, aside from, being a convicted murderer, she was literally legally blind for the purposes of the Department of Motor Vehicles.
Oh my God. Did she still have a license or was she driving
did.
without one? What?
Sure did. Yep.
How did they not take that away if you're convicted of a murder?
Or, I don't know, legally blind?
Yeah.
I don't know. Not a doctor, okay? Her license stipulated that she could only drive during the day and with corrective lenses. Okay, sure, with corrective lenses, then, maybe she's not blind, but she's also getting up there a little bit in age.
Yeah.
And she's a murderer.
Yeah. Don't give her a very, 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 very large weapon.
Yeah. It's multiple hundreds, actually thousands of pounds of weapon.
I don't know how much cars weigh.
That, more than 1,000 pounds.
Okay.
So, yeah. EMTs assisted the victims at the scene, but they were flown by plane. So remember, there's not a real quick way to get off the island unless you want to go in a plane.
Yeah.
So they went by plane to St. Luke's Hospital in Bellingham. Ruth was cooperative, though terribly flustered by the incident. She claimed not to have seen the cyclist, which, you want to think that, that's all it was.
Yeah.
Not that she's just arbitrarily running down tourists on their bikes.
Well,
but
she got away with it once.
I mean,
kind of. That didn't make any sense.
Got away with murder once. So, I know where you.
Okay.
I got you. She was driven home by an employee of the fire department. He reported that he smelled alcohol on her on the drive.
Okay.
This was a violation of the terms of her probation and release. One of many terms stipulated, in fact. I guess they're real picky about what murderers do while they're out roaming free on the streets.
But, they can still drive.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. Don't let me forget. I didn't include it in the story because I was just like, come on. But it's actually pretty funny. So I'm going to tell you what her excuse was.
Yeah, I want to know.
Right after this.
Okay.
Okay. A warrant was obtained to issue a breathalyzer test. Her initial result, approximately 4 hours after the incident, was 0.06.
Oh.
So not technically legally drunk, especially at that point in history, because I think back in the 80s in a lot of states, it was 0.1, which is alcohol poisoning level. Yikes. She attempted to blame this. I shit you not. I am not, in fact, shitting your dick. She tried to blame it on having drank spoiled orange juice.
Ew.
Yeah.
That's disgusting.
So you have orange juice that you decided to drink that you realize now after the fact was so spoiled that you are, in fact, drunk.
And you drank that much of the spoiled OJ.
That don't make no sense.
I feel like you would take a sip and be like, oh, that's bad.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah, I'll keep drinking it anyway.
I mean, let's face it. Somebody in Ruth's position, she was literally having, I forget the technical, the medical term for it, but during the trial, she was having the tremors that are associated with alcohol withdrawal.
Oh.
So she probably would have drank spoiled orange juice.
That makes sense.
But I think she's full of shit.
Yeah.
Still. As it stood, this excuse would not fly, and she was cited for negligent driving, which is interesting. I wonder why that was what she was cited for.
Negligent.
Yeah. Like, we have one for drunk.
Yeah. Huh. Was that not a thing back then?
Pretty sure it was.
Weird.
I don't know. So I'd be interested to know more about like the legal, strategy or reasoning behind that. But
yeah,
I don't know. Worked out though. Unfortunately, one of the victims suffered a broken pelvis, fractured skull, and pretty significant cuts.
Oh, no.
The other had a broken left arm, as well as several abrasions and contusions. They both lived, though, sounds like, for many years after that. I think they were okay.
Okay.
I didn't follow them through to, all the way to obituary, but
yeah,
seems like it worked out.
That sucks, too. And then imagine waking, I say waking up like they were out. I don't really know, but being told after the fact that you were ran over by a murderer.
They were conscious.
Oh.
Like when EMTs and when police reported to the scene, they were like moaning in pain and crying. And
oh, no, that's horrific.
I know. I was going to leave that out, but you drew it out of me.
Yeah, I just want to know what that moment was like when they
got
told
imagine
who it was that did that. Like how pissed,
I know. Can you imagine?
No.
I'd be like, hey, Ruth, can you autograph my cast? Because I'd like to sell it as murder mobilia.
Murder mobilia? Is
memorabilia.
That a thing?
Yeah.
I thought you made it there was a word for it. Murder mobilia.
Oh, no.
Murderbilia.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's a huge market for it. I mean, pay off your hospital bills, I guess.
Yeah.
Fuck. Ruth was arraigned on July 20th following the incident, and she denied that she had been drinking on that date, that she collided with a cyclist, causing them serious bodily harm. I mean, this was not a casual thing.
Yeah.
It was very not awesome.
No.
Just in case you guys were confused about that.
It is not good.
I can't even, I've never broken a bone. So
it's not fun.
Yeah. I
have broken my pelvis and it is not a good time. Okay. So mine wasn't broken as bad probably as theirs, but it was fractured and it was the most intense pain I've ever felt. So I can't even imagine.
Okay. I have to leave now.
I
just remembered I have a thing.
He's bad.
The judge in her criminal case agreed to have her sentence begin as a result of her violation of her probation and appeals bond. They were like, yeah, we'll go ahead and have you begin your sentence immediately, if not sooner.
Good.
Yeah. So, if you could go to jail, do not pass go. Do not collect $200.
Do not. How much was her bond thingy?
$150,000.
Okay, do not collect $150,000.
Yeah, definitely don't collect that much. You are not entitled to it, actually. She was flown by private plane to the Washington State Women's Prison in Gig Harbor.
Fancy.
I know. Yeah, it doesn't sound like it was a pleasant one, though.
Good.
Yeah. February 8th, 1988, her conviction was confirmed by the Washington State Court of Appeals by the appellate judges.
Good.
Yeah, they were like, no, you're pretty guilty.
Yeah.
We're going to stand by this one. She was to remain in prison. She was officially out of options, actually.
Good. Phew.
I know. Yeah, you're like, please stop having options.
Yeah.
Please stop doing favors for Ruth, if you would. That'd be lovely. Ruth's precious B&B sold for $190,000 to a California couple.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. She would not receive one red cent.
Hell no.
No. As she was embroiled in a number of costly lawsuits and other financial entanglements.
Weird.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry, Ruth. Like, no. On February 17th of 1993, she suffered a fatal stroke at the age of 73.
Damn.
Yeah.
Wow.
So she did a few years. Not a lot.
Not enough.
Not a lot. After slowly and subtly siphoning money out of their joint holdings into her personal accounts that Rolf would be unable to access, Ruth was, by this time, essentially financially destitute. A very far cry from the outward appearance of wealth she had risen to before her prison sentence commenced.
Well, don't be a dick.
I know. Yeah, I just think it's really funny that after, all that time that she spent siphoning away even money that was like rightfully his entire pension.
God.
She put that into her own personal accounts. The way that he found out about it, because he became suspicious, and I think honestly that's sort of what led to all of a sudden their violence really escalating.
Yeah, that makes sense.
He went to go cash a check at one of the, banks that they had accounts with, and they wouldn't cash it because the account was overdrawn.
Oh my God.
He went to cash a $75 check.
Oh.
And this man had over $75,000 alone just from his pension that should have been in, one of these accounts somewhere. It was somewhere.
Fucking Ruth.
I know.
What gives people the right?
They don't have the right.
Well,
just like the unmitigated gall.
Yes.
The fucking audacity.
I don't get it. So, tarot?
Let's
do it. So, we are doing tarot for Ruth. Did you say Rolf and I said Ruth?
Yeah.
That's so funny. Huh. I feel like this one was more, I don't want to say more about Ruth.
Kind of in a way, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her shithead self.
Not because we like her any more than we did from like the first episode.
No. Caitlin is picking a card. I feel like I need to narrate now. Oh,
Ace of Cups. I don't know about this. It's in the reverse. But I'm going to set aside this because I feel like part of me wanted to maybe go there.
We've gotten this card too so many times. Oh, this is that one card that kept popping out at me too.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? This might be right on.
Yeah. As soon as we...
In the reverse, this might be right on. Okay. Ace of Cups. Our keywords are new love, beginning a creative activity, joy. So like, I don't know, maybe that's the B&B.
Yeah. Yeah.
A single large chalice appears on the Ace of Cups. Sometimes water flows out of it, fountain-like, or the cup sits in water. In the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, a hand emerging from a cloud offers the cup as a gift to you. This represents a gift of love, either of a personal or divine nature. This ace reminds us of the Holy Grail, the most famous chalice of all, which some people believe now lies in the Chalice Well in Glastonbury, England.
We've heard that several times.
Okay. And then there's a Wiccan blessing in this that now I think we've probably read 2 or 3 times before.
Yeah.
May you never thirst.
Yes.
Actually, Ruth, I hope you're always thirsty.
Always.
Every day.
Always parched.
The reversed ace can indicate a delay in starting a relationship.
Oh, maybe
Interesting.
because someone's already married?
Yeah, maybe. Late in life as
Mhm.
well.
Yeah.
It can also mean a romance that seemed promising, but doesn't develop or turn out as you'd hoped.
Sounds about right.
This may not be the right time to start something new. Also, Ruth should never have it. Don't get married again. Don't start a new relationship. No, thank you. Okay. In a reading about money, the reversed ace suggests you may have to wait a while to profit from a new venture. Or it can mean you won't make as much as you'd expected.
That's definitely correct. This is spot on.
Yikes. Sometimes when it all shakes out,
we just need to trust the universe. We do.
I guess so. If the reading is about your work, you may encounter delays in landing your dream job. She was super frustrated about having to close down her, I want to say Airbnb,
me too. Yeah.
But after they went through and did that comprehensive warrant, she was just all up in arms about how, they've done such extensive damage to the property. It'll be, such a horrible delay now before I can open the B&B.
Oh my God.
Just crazy. For creative people, this ace can represent a dry spell when you feel stifled or uninspired. Like maybe when, you just don't have the inspiration to change out the carpet padding. In a reading about love, you may run into obstacles, limitations, or disappointments.
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah.
gotta call them like you see them, but I think that fits.
Totally.
If the shoe fits, wear it in your prison cell forever and ever. Amen.
But only the one, because I want you to only have the one
Only
shoe.
one shoe.
So that your legs get off balance.
Yeah. No, that makes perfect sense. Couldn't have happened to a nicer lady. All right. Well, that feels good.
Was that it? Was that the end of the read?
Yeah.
I am surprised at how fast they go because they used to feel long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. And this, I feel like the interpretation wasn't crazy long, but I mean,
pretty easy to interpret too.
I think so. Yeah. Sometimes it works out that way.
Oh my gosh.
Well, the good news is now we can just sit here and stare at our beautiful spoopy season witchy altar.
Ooh, also, this is cloudy and rainy and like in the ocean, like an island.
Yeah, it kind of looks like a little island.
Where was this island?
Popping out in the clouds, popping out of the mist, the fog.
Yeah.
Lopez Island up in the Puget Sound.
Right, Puget Sound. That's what I was thinking. Yeah. Cool.
That's a good catch.
Thanks. I like to look at the imagery and see if I can make any connections.
Yeah, sometimes I forget about that because I'm so focused on reading them. So
that's why we're a good team.
Good looking out, friend.
Aw.
Okay. Should we say goodbye to the creepy people?
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm pretty hungry.
I know, me too.
Okay.
Have a creepy ass day. See you next Tuesday.
Unless, maybe you die in your cell with a one shoe.
Yeah. Poor Ruth.
Aw, baby Ruth. So for all of you that are listening, if you have any true crime or paranormal stories that you want us to share, maybe with the whole Pacific Northwest.
Yes, we would love to read them on the pod.
Yes, we will read them out loud.
Not just in our heads.
Yes. They don't have to be from the Pacific Northwest if you would like to share. Email us at pnwhauntsandhomicides@gmail.com. It's all spelled out, no special characters. Super duper easy peasy.
Follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Same thing as the email at PNW Haunts and Homicides, all spelled out, no special characters. Please also rate and review us on whatever platform you're listening to, and check out our stories on social media because our meme game is hot.
Agreed.
And if you agree, like Caitlin, you can also find us on Patreon and support the show.
Bitchin'. When officers...
Officer. Honestly. Twice. Go on, you guys. Stop it.
We're a bit punchy, I'd say.